fight's not over.
Stop the fight!
People.
Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king. Kill everybody. Ah!
Okay, guys, welcome back to Broke Bets. We just came off of UFC 285, another winning card, and that's 4 winning cards in a row now. What's up, dude?
Yes, sir. We gotta keep that winning streak going.
Yeah, I believe it was plus 2.7 units. Planning on doing well here as well. So let's just get into this next card. We got Tyson Nam versus Bruno Silva. I like Tyson Nam just a little bit more here. Bruno Silva I've seen is just very hittable. He does have a high pace and he's gonna have more volume than Tyson Nam, but he leaves his head out there to be hit. Tyson Nam also just came off of that impressive knockout over Ode Osborne where he was down, but he was just waiting to time him until the correct time. And yeah, this guy's got knockout power. He cuts a good amount of weight. And I liked him to find a knockout in this fight.
Yeah. In his last fight with Ode Osborne, I was concerned with that age, but I guess that didn't seem to stop him. At 39 years old at flyweight, you typically don't see those guys do well at that age, but he proved it in his last fight, and I think he'll keep that momentum rolling. I think Silva's been out for almost 2 years now, and might have some ring rust.
Yeah, I mean, Silva's got some good technique. Like I said, it's a lot of volume, but it feels like he's gotten timed in his fights before, and if he comes into this fight and he's getting timed on punches, it could be bad for him. In overall confidence, this is a low confidence thing for me for a pick. Just 39 years old versus 32 years old. And of course, when you're just waiting for a counterpuncher to land a shot, it's really not the best thing to bet on. So I do not have a bet that I will have for this fight. But yeah, I put down Tyson Nam, KO round 2. Maybe things get a little interesting in round 1. Silva looks like he's up, and then a counter shot puts him down. Okay, for the next fight, we have Tony Gravely versus Victor Henry. Taking Victor Henry in this matchup, I think this is another classic instance where somebody has a lackluster performance and people will doubt this person because of that. You just saw it happen with Jasmine Jasdavicius with her fight with Natalia Silva, and then she beat up the Gabriela Fernandez girl pretty good. So Victor Henry, underwhelming in his Raphael Assuncao performance, really just was waiting the entire time. Never really put the gas on him, and Assuncao is known for that type of fighting too. He just leans back, waits for people to come in, and counters them. But against Barcelos, this dude held a high pace. He didn't get taken down, or if he did get taken down, he flashed up easily. He's got a slick ground game, he's got a quick get-up game, and I think he's got the better cardio. Tony Gravely isn't the best in the first or the second round with his cardio, so I think that later in this fight he'll slow down, and Victor Henry, I'm going to say submission round 2.
Yep, I'm not going to write off Victor Henry yet. Yeah, that last performance was a little underwhelming. I know it busted my parlay, probably busted a bunch of people's parlays, but still riding with him here. I think he'll just be the better striker. Maybe Gravely shoots for a bad takedown, and like you said, Henry can catch him in a submission here.
Right, I think that Gravely, he's got that power in his hands, but I think the volume will overwhelm him here. I think Basharat, at times, in the first round, he kind of took the speed out of Gravely, and then in the second and third round, it was all Basharat. But this dude does have power, but he also can get caught in submissions, slow down, and I just think it's going to be less volume on the feet. I like it if it goes towards the judges. I think he could knock him out, but I do like a submission. Victor Henry, submission, round 2. Okay, for the next fight, we have JJ Aldrich versus Ariane Lipski. Other than Ariane Lipski looking real nice, she ain't a very good fighter, and JJ Aldrich will win this fight. I'm taking her by knockout. JJ Aldrich really impressed me in her loss, actually, to Erin Blanchfield. She won the first round, was completely outboxing her, and actually had, I think, 2 takedowns on Blanchfield. Up until the second round, the crazy guillotine choke that got her. But she looks really improved. That boxing, really straight punches, and just wasn't fucking around. I mean, she looked great. Ariane Lipski, on the other hand, that Cachoeira fight, she got stung, and then she went into an exchange, like a trade battle for who could fucking knock the other one out when she was hurt. I can't really trust that fight IQ or just her record in general. I mean, she hasn't been that great of a fighter in her past, and I think Aldrich can get this fight to the ground whenever she wants. She could ground and pound her out. She could finish on the feet. And yeah, I just like Aldrich to win this fight. I'm going to say knockout in the second round.
Yeah. Aldrich hasn't had a finish in the UFC, but she can find that one here with Lipski being knocked out in her last 3 losses. I think that's very possible for Aldrich to find a knockout here.
Right. I mean, and if Lipski's not defending herself, the added up of damage, the takedowns and ground and pound, it'll say Lipski can't get up. I think it's all leaning that direction. I do have Aldrich in a parlay, and I do think she's a really good parlay piece. The line was set kind of goofy for this one. I mean, the starting line was like minus 220 for JJ Aldrich, when Lipski really isn't anything for the UFC. So, yeah, JJ Aldrich KO round 2. Okay, for the next fight, we have Mario Bautista versus Guido Cannetti. Guido Cannetti, for being a 43-year-old, pretty surprising. He doesn't look the part. He has good power, but we're taking Mario Bautista, obviously, the huge favorite here. I'm going to take him by a submission in the first round. Mario Bautista has just looked phenomenal ever since he put on all this muscle after his loss to Trevin Jones. He kind of just has looked like a great fighter. Even in his fights to Trevin Jones, he looked great up until the knockout. And I really trust this guy to get this win. At minus 900, it's a crazy price tag for him. But Cannetti, again, good power, good forward pressure, but overall not the most consistent results. He could easily be submitted on the ground to the stronger guy, the bigger guy, and on the feet, I see Bautista controlling it. So I don't want to write off Cannetti completely, because he did write off those odds last time. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Mario Bautista is way better than Randy Costa.
Yeah.
I like this. I like Bautista wherever this fight goes, and I think he'll be able to find a submission here and make it 3 straight submissions for him.
I mean, yeah, he's like I say, shown great strength. He had good patience in his grappling last time, that nasty armbar. I'm all over him for this fight. The over-under 1.5 is an interesting spot. I think that Cannetti could survive for a little bit longer, but we'll see. I do like the submission in the first round, though. Okay, for the next fight, we have Sedriques Dumas versus Josh Fremd. Taking Sedriques Dumas, this guy looked impressive in his Contender Series fight, and he does have this nice attribute of a mixed martial artist. He can mess around on the ground. He can stand and kickbox with people, and I like the variability in his game. I think he's better on the feet here than Josh Fremd, and the submission ability, I mean, it's hard to say who's going to be exactly better, but Josh Fremd did just get submitted in his last fight to a guillotine choke, and Dumas does have a guillotine choke. I'm going to take Dumas by KO, though. I think that it'll probably happen in the second or third round. Fremd is a little hittable, and Dumas, I really like how patient he is on the feet. He throws a lot of head kicks up, similar to how like Jamal Hill just kind of threw up ones against Glover. And I think that he's just going to find the button and put him down here. Josh Fremd, I don't think he's that bad of a fighter. I think the 2 losses in the UFC for him don't reflect exactly how good he is. I think that his performance against Anthony Hernandez was 10 times better than what Marc Andre did. And also, Tresean Gore it's hard to get a read on exactly how good he is either. So this should be an interesting fight. I don't have a bet in particular for either fighter or rounds or anything like that, but yeah, I do like Dumas for a second round knockout.
Yeah, Dumas is tricky. I think he opened up around like minus 135, and now he's like minus 175. So money seems to be pouring in on him. Got a long, lengthy frame. He's got a really long reach.
Right.
And I just, I think people see that guillotine, being able to find a guillotine choke with it, which is what Fremd got caught with in his last fight.
Right. I think that I think in this fight, like you said, with that reach and the kickboxing at range, I think he holds the advantage in this fight. And whether it's point fighting too, as it goes longer, I like it. So yeah, Dumas KO round 2. Okay, for the next fight we have Raphael Assuncao versus Davey Grant. Taking Davey Grant, I really love watching his fight style. He's not the most technically gifted fighter, but he does have a lot of offense, and that's what makes him fun to watch. I might need you to double check this for me, but I don't think that Davey Grant has been knocked out before. If you can double check that. But
he's
Raphael,
never been knocked out. It's been submitted 3 times though.
Okay, so I was gonna say that, like, you know, he's been in a lot of fights where,
but went to a decision with Yanez and Elvira.
Exactly, like dudes that are knocking people out. And I really like his footwork with his kicks. He's got a good teep kick. He's got good spinning kicks. He's got like a shot. Like his frame makes you think that he wouldn't do much of his techniques, but he does a lot of spinning kicks, low leg kicks. I like everything about it. You know, in his last performance, he was a little bit too eager to get the knockout, and he slowed down pretty fast. But that being said, similar to like Duplessis, this dude like looks tired but fights with a lot of power still, and it's like really weird to watch. And even in his Yanez fight, you know, that's a split decision against a talented boxer. And Assuncao on the other side, you know, tons of high-level competition, and he's fought the who's who of the division. But, you know, he's 40 years old. Even in his Victor Henry fight, he was just waiting to counter. I think that if this fight stays at kicking range, Davey Grant controls it. And he's got that one-punch knockout power. He's not going to be scared to go engage with Assuncao. I like him to find a knockout. I'm going to say in round 2, even when he softens them up.
Yeah, I think Davey Grant's just going to put the pace and pressure on him. Assuncao's going to, you know, try to counter him, but I think Grant will be able to overwhelm him and find that knockout.
Right. Assuncao just makes like fights hard to score, and that's a little bit annoying. Similar to like a Pedro Munoz, they won't like throw out a ton of strikes, but when they do, they'll load up with power. But I do like Davey Grant. He also swings his hands like there's hammer, like a pendulum, like there's a hammer on the end of it. And every single time it looks like it has a big effect on people. He chewed up Louis Smolka's front leg in that fight, in his most recent fight as well. You could see him slow down Assuncao with different techniques like that as well. So, yeah, Davey Grant, KO, round 2. Okay, for the next fight, we have Lukasz Brzeski versus Karl Williams. I'm taking Karl Williams. Although this is a strange fight, I think both of these guys more fit into the light heavyweight category than they do actual heavyweights, but they come with you know, a speed advantage on a lot of these guys. But these two are kind of faced off in similar styles and how they're winning fights in the division like this. Karl Williams fought in the Contender Series. We're picking him because I think that he had a good cardio. He took down a 265-pound man when he weighed 233 pounds. He looked impressive. I mean, he got the takedowns whenever he wanted. He didn't slow down. I remember watching his post-fight interview, and he was hardly breathing. His hands looked good. He's got a long reach. And he was impressive. I don't know as far how good he is because, you know, he didn't even get tested at all by the dude he was fighting. Brzeski, on the other hand, don't know how to feel about him either. He beat Martin Boudet, and that was just a horrible decision. But His hands don't look the most coordinated. He kind of turns his elbow over on his punches a little bit, and I think that slows people's punches down. And I think he's susceptible to being taken down, and Karl could exploit that. So, I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Brzeski, I think that was maybe the worst decision of the year. But, yeah, I think Karl Williams will be able to mix in the grappling and find takedowns and win those rounds, tire Brzeski out, and maybe find a finish.
I'm gonna say a second round knockout. Brzeski, like even in the Boudet fight, I'm sure you remember this, but like Boudet didn't even attempt a takedown on him. They got clinched up a couple times, and like Boudet being probably about 50 pounds heavier during fight time, didn't try a takedown of any sort. And even Brzeski didn't even land super well on Boudet, even though Boudet is really easy to be hit. He's pretty slow. I just think Karl's straight punches, from what I saw of his jab, it looked pretty nice. And yeah, I see this guy winning the fight, hopefully on the feet, and we'll see a little bit more of an entertaining knockout. So yeah, Williams, KO, round 2. Okay, for the next fight, we have Victor Petrino versus Anton Turkalj. Picking Victor Petrino here. Anton, you know, this dude, I don't think he has got the craziest power. He does throw some weird techniques, like he's got a win by spinning back fist and some other weird things, but he mostly succeeds in getting into the clinch and trying to find takedowns from that. Even in his Contender Series fight, he was pretty unimpressive, never really went for the finish, and just rode it out to a decision. Clearly, Dana hated that. But Petrino, I was very impressed with this Contender Series fight. I also think this guy might be on steroids because he looked juiced to the gills. But his jab was real nice. That's what I really took away from his fight. Uses his jab to set up his other punches. And he also throws punches from different angles. It's uppercut, it's left hook, it's right hook. They're all coming at you. Sometimes he can get a little sloppy and get into the warfare of the fight, but if there's a 50-50 exchange, this dude is going to win it. I'm taking him by a first-round knockout. And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Petrino's got good stand-up and will be the better striker here. Looking at his record, I mean, he's finished all of his opponents in the first or second round except for one,
right,
which went to a decision, that was his second fight. I think he's very dangerous on the feet, and he'll find that finish.
You know, in the Contender Series fight, too, he slowed down partially, but then I think he got a second wind and held on a little bit longer. In this fight, the biggest scare, I think, is Anton just gets hooked onto his hips and takes him down. And that's why these odds are very close. If you're looking at the over-under, I think it's set at like plus 155 for the under 1.5. I actually don't like that deal as much. I more just like Petrino by knockout, because if this dude's going to win, it's going to be by knockout. If Anton's going to win, it's probably going to be over 1.5 rounds. So I do like Petrino, and hopefully we see Anton go down. I wasn't a big fan of his last 2 fights. Obviously, Jailton, I won't critique him too much for that. But, yeah, Petrino, KO, round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Said Nurmagomedov versus Jonathan Martinez. And this is going to be a banger of a fight, in my opinion. Taking Said Nurmagomedov. I've been a big fan of Jonathan Martinez for a little while now, and he does a really good job of facing his opponent. Strong left leg kicks to the body, to the shin. That's how he took out Cub Swanson in that last fight. And overall, just very measured kickboxer at range. Said, though, has just like so many strange abilities. I think that he could take down Martinez in this fight. He's also just got a nasty guillotine. That Sayukub Kakramanov submission was one of my favorites of the year. And he always is just throwing things out there like that, making people question it. And if he gets into the clinch, you could always see him go into positions like that. And at striking, I really do believe this fight's going to be very 50-50. Said's going to be throwing spinning stuff. He doesn't have the best hands, but Martinez will be facing him, and I think that'll leave him open for counters and stuff. But I do think Saeed finds some awkward submission, whether it's him taking him to the ground or, them clinching up and finding an awkward thing. I'm going to take him by a first-round submission.
Yeah, if this fight was just standing up, I think it would be a really close fight. But yeah, like you said, especially his last one, Nurmagomedov's last guillotine against Sedriques, I just see him finding some submission some point in this fight.
Right. And that was like his third attempted submission in that fight. He got
really close right away when the fight started.
Right. And then he goes, I think he had to arm in guillotine right away, and then he just had straight guillotine the second time, but he did the same, it was the same looking submission he had with Cody Stamann. It was just nasty. And I really do think this is a tough matchup, and I won't probably bet any part of it. Probably just watch it as a fan. But, I do like Nurmagomedov submission round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Ricardo Ramos versus Austin Lingo. Taking Ricardo Ramos. He's not the best fighter, I will say, but he's very well-rounded, and that's what makes him dangerous to these guys. He's got interesting stand-up, and most of that, I think, stems from having such a good ground game. You can spin whenever you want. You can throw knees. You just have a plethora of things you're able to do when you have a good ground game. And Austin Lingo, on the other hand, kind of is just like a tough guy. And I don't know if that's going to play out in this fight. He can kickbox, but Ramos always has that ground option open to him. And Youssef Zalal took down Austin Lingo 6 times in their fight. He denied a lot of the takedowns in the first round, but in the second and the third, it was all Zalal was getting control time. He put him in a couple submission attempts, although he didn't get it. I think that this fight sets up for Ricardo Ramos submission. I'm thinking first round, just because he could get him down to the ground. He got Bill Algeo down to the ground, and some of these other guys. He does kind of stand up and try to play the tough guy role as well with Zuba, Tukudov, and some of these other guys, but overall, he should be able to win this fight.
Yeah, I think we like him wherever this fight goes, standing or on the ground, obviously. He should have that bigger advantage on the ground, and he should take that fight here and hopefully find a submission.
Yeah, my biggest hope is that he wouldn't slow down from this. He kind of would go for that attempt, and if it doesn't happen, don't force it. But he's taken the back before on Bill Algeo and some of these guys. I trust him here. I was a little bit nervous about this fight, and initially because I think Austin Lingo can tough guy people in fights. If you watch the Luis Saldana fight, Luis Saldana gassed out after the first round trying to just fuck up Austin Lingo, and then the second and third round just went straight to Lingo because he was too tired to really compete for points. So, yeah, Ricardo Ramos, submission, round 1. Okay, we've already done this fight, so we'll try to make this one a little bit quicker. Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann, the rescheduled event, now for 3 rounds. Taking Nikita Krylov, we did last time, I'm going to say knockout in the first round. We kind of discussed, if Ryan Spann was going to win, it's probably going to be a first-round finish, because that's just how he fights. Nikita Krylov, though, he is hittable, and I think that opportunity is there for Spann, but if you just look at the, their records and their past, I think that Nikita Krylov holds a better record against better wins against better fighters, and in the stand-up, he can hold on to his gas tank a little bit longer, and I think he takes a punch better than Spann. And I'm assuming maybe he'll take a couple big shots and deliver one big one of his own and put down Spann. So Nikita Krylov, I got him in first round knockout. What do you think?
Yeah, not sure what the illness he had, but I don't think that they would be rescheduling this that quick if he wasn't all right. So hopefully he is all right, and hopefully he finds that knockout.
Amen. Nikita Krylov, KO round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have the Battle of the Alexanders, and we have Alexander Volkov versus Alexander Romanov. We're taking Alexander Romanov, and I think it's just the wrestling difference, especially in this division. Wrestling has seemed to be, obviously the big game changer. This dude is very strong. He can suplex people, and I think if he gets Volkov on his back, it should just be a round over with, or submission. You just saw Tom Aspinall blast double this guy and put him straight into a arm lock. And Volkov also lost to Curtis Blades a while ago, based on a lot of the wrestling. The one nervous part would be Romanov slowing down like he did in the Tybura fight, but I do like him to get a submission. I'm gonna say first round submission.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are turned off by Romanov after that last performance. He gassed out after one round. If that was at altitude, maybe that had something to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not.
If you consider that, he actually didn't look as tired as what he could have been, too. So maybe that's props to him. I don't know.
Yeah, with this being a 3-round fight, I mean, if he can get a takedown in the first and second round, I don't think Volkov will be able to get up from those. So, right. And if he finds a submission, Romanov can find one as well earlier in those first and second rounds.
Yeah, I think Volkov is like the ultimate like litmus test of the heavyweight division, especially with striking. And I don't think Romanov's obviously on that level to keep up with his striking, but for the ground game, you also notice that Volkov stands really tall when he's striking, and if he gets in on a double leg or something, or up against the fence even, I think you can get Volkov down pretty easily. It's hard to write off Volkov because he might still have gas in like round 3 if Romanov can't get that finish, but I'm still going to be under that assumption as well. So, you like a submission here?
Yes, I do.
All right. Alexander Romanov, submission round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili. We're taking Petr Yan. He still is one of the best, if not the best 135er in my opinion. Close decisions or not, he's still a great, great fighter. Merab, the only thing I don't like about this fight is that he's got an inside man. Him and Aljo's going to be helping him with this fight. He knows a lot about Petr, and I think what really paid off in that rematch fight for Aljamain was the body work that he went to on Petr, was body kicks, punches. I'm not sure Merab has the ability to hit the body as much because he's not kicking quite as much, but I do like Petr to find a knockout in this fight. He really is a world-class fighter. I'm going to say in round 3 when he stuffs all the takedowns. What you'll really notice about Merab and Petr, Petr's got good takedown defense. He's also got good wrestling of his own. Merab's got good wrestling, but he doesn't have a ton of control time with it. He gets some takedowns. If you looked at the Jose Aldo fight, he just humped his leg for 3 rounds. And there's other fights where, Marlon Moraes, obviously a lot of people are going to finish him. But the John Dodson fight, he got on his hips the whole fight, but really didn't get any control time with takedowns. And Petr Yan's going to sting him every time he punches him. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, in the Marlon Moraes fight with Dvalishvili, Moraes cracked him in that fight too, and nearly got him out of there. I think Yan will be able to fight off some of the wrestling. I think he'll be able to get up from some of the wrestling, and I'd like him to win this fight on the feet, working the body, having the better boxing, and finding a finish.
I mean, I think we have to remember, too, that, Petr Yan was a minus 300 favorite versus Sean, minus 400 favorite something versus Aljo, a minus 200 favorite versus Sanhagen. You just gotta remember that this guy has, if you're looking at the odds, I do think that he still is a steal for odds. Minus 200 to 250 if he's in that range on your book. I think that's a good spot still, because he's been nothing but dominant in a lot of his fights. And then, the Aljo rematch, if you're looking at how he got controlled from the 2 rounds that he for sure lost, it was just from his back being taken. And Merab doesn't take people's backs and hold them there for a whole round. You know, he's just constantly trying to wrestle fuck you the whole time. So I think,
and this fight being 5 rounds too. Jan has the experience in the 5-round fights. He's won a lot of the championship rounds. Rob doesn't have that experience yet.
Right, and I don't know if Piotr's gonna be scared of the takedown. I wouldn't assume him to be, because I think he could easily just get up from it as well. But if we're talking about the damaging fighter, better boxing, the kicks, I'm taking Petr Yan all day. So, anything else you got there?
Please, for the love of God, Petr Yan, please win this fight.
Please win. I feel a little bit nervous betting it because, like, if I'm gonna bet anything, I'll tell the crowd. It'd be the under 4.5 probably, or Petr Yan by finish. I'd rather go with Petr Yan by finish when that line drops, because it's kind of unlikely that Merab would finish him, and I feel like that once that like 3rd round starts, the gas is going to get put on him. So yeah, Petr Yan KO round 3. Okay, guys, this is the bets recap and the picks recap from UFC 285. Again, we went positive 2.57 units. That's 4 winning weeks in a row. First bet of the card, Gamrot, picked him. Just knew he was going to be have the wrestling advantage. I didn't expect entertaining. I kind of thought about, the damage differential could be weird in the scoring, but they did give him the win, and that was a nice win there. Parlays, took Basharat, although I think that he still needs a little bit more time before I can really trust him. He looked really nervous to really fight, but he did have some decent takedowns and ground control time. Ian Gary getting dropped, the ultimate scare, really makes you gasp, but getting it done. I mean, remember Kenan Song's eye after that fight?
Yeah, that was disgusting. When Gary got dropped, that kind of made my heart stop for a second. But other than that, I think Gary dominated the entire fight.
Right, I agree, and I mean, it's kind of expected. It was one punch, and that was pretty much it. Duplessis, good old Derek Brunson. If it's a Derek Brunson fight, if he's gonna gas out, and that's exactly what happened. We knew Duplessis would get tired, but Derek Brunson gets more tired. The only big missing bet was the over 4.5 rounds in the Alexa Grasso-Valentina Shevchenko fight. And that was 3 minutes away. And let's be honest, if the jump on the back never happened, we would have gotten that bet, I feel like, pretty free. But, I'm not going to be too mad about it. You lose a little bit of money to see a pretty cool UFC moment. I'm not going to complain too much. Next one, Vivian and Ribas to a split decision. Wrong. It was dominance by Ribas, but it was still a close first round in a lot of ways. Moving down, Bo Nickel and Jamie Pickett. Under 1.5, easy fucking bet. And over 2.5 in the Ribas Araujo fight. Well, it had a finish scare with Ribas hurting Araujo. And to polish it off, the start round 3 in the Valentina fight, and the finish with the Bo Nickel. It's all pretty easy money right there. What do you think?
Yeah, a little more confident in the Grasso-Shevchenko to start round 3 than the 4.5. So, and that line was still pretty darn good at minus 156.
I mean, so. Can you? I should have talked about this again. Just to look back on it, I just thought of it now. The Jon Jones fight was over 4.5, was minus 150. But the start round 3 in the women's fight is minus 158. How is that possible? Or 156. How is that possible? I don't get it.
Yep. And then Bo Nickel finish, I think pretty much everyone had that first round finish. Or somewhere along those lines. So and saw that coming.
As for the Jon Jones fight, we got our prediction wrong there, but I don't think anyone expected it to be that fucking easy. I mean, it's pretty weird to think about that, Jon couldn't finish Anthony Smith, couldn't finish Thiago Santos with one knee ligament, and and didn't finish Dominic Reyes. And then Siljan couldn't wrestle, and boom, it was over. It was just so fast. You know, I won't take away too much from Jon Jones. You know, he looked amazing, but you do want a main event, and it felt like we were a little bit robbed of a super fight main event in a way, but whatever. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he made it look easy.
That's why he's the GOAT, I guess. So
shows heavyweights can't grapple. I think I don't know who would his toughest test be.
It's just weird because like
but
the dimension of the sport is like in lightweight, if you can't wrestle, you're nowhere near the top. Whereas in heavyweight, you know, there's so many guys like Tai Tuivasa can't wrestle for shit, and he's in the top 6, right? So that's always a weird thing to think about. And you know, Jones gets it done. He is such a strange like creature. Like just he's not incredible at one thing. If anything, his wrestling probably is the best attribute, but his frame is probably what makes him the best. And then just being able to compete in the striking makes him that much better. So pretty crazy end to a night with one huge upset, and then Jon Jones making it look that easy. I will say, dude, Shavkat surprised the shit out of me. I thought that he was not going to strike with Jeff Neal that much and kind of clinch him the whole fight. The dude has fucking weapons everywhere, and you know, I was more of a Khamzat fan before, and I think I'm fully on the Shavkat train here now, so excited for his next fight, and hopefully it's Khamzat. So
yeah, that'd be the fight pretty much every fan would be hoping for and looking forward to. I think as for the heavyweights, I mean, I think Blades and Aspinall probably have the best chance to beat Jon Jones, but other than that, I see him pretty much running through everyone else. Stipe fight, he might make it look even easier than he did with Rogan.
I feel like that one's just going to play out at range, and it's just going to be Jon jabbing him, kicking him, you know, be probably pretty one-sided, so
yeah,
we'll see.
Stipe's done.
All right. That's it for this video, so peace!
Peace.
I know. It doesn't matter from the trenches. I'm built like this. The old doubted me said I couldn't do it. The old said I couldn't do it. Look at me now. 11-0.